Cities, 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. This is the El Donzo and Dees show.
I'm El Donzo, and we're up in smoke.
I'm Dees, and I'd like to take this time, as I do every week, to remind you to catch us on our socials. That is at X/Twitter for you old heads out there, at El Donzo Dees, Facebook.com/El Donzo Dees, and most important of all, to see our stupid faces, YouTube.com/El Donzo Dees, where we put up clips of the show. And of course, my live sports show happens once a week, every week. And now we get back to this stupid show. We have a speaker, finally, 3 weeks later.
Mike Johnson.
Mike Johnson, who, fully admit, had never heard of. It was kind of a circus there for a little while of like one person would be chosen, and then within hours they were dropping out. Very interested to know what happened with all that, like why they were dropping like flies. But anyway, Mike Johnson got the 220 Republican votes.
Right, they pretty much came together for Mike Johnson,
yeah.
which was interesting because they couldn't come together for Jim Jordan. They couldn't really come together for Steve Scalise. Mike Johnson was pretty much a mega guy, still is. And, of course, you know, this is one of the news stories I want to pull up here real quick. I don't know if you've read this about the Democrats freaking out over Mike Johnson, because I guess he was one of the people that, you know, back when the 2020 election, remember we covered the 2020 election on the show. You know, this ain't right. We need to look at this a little bit. Mike Johnson was one of the backers of having a second look at the 2020 election results. And they are absolutely freaking out about this, that he was a proponent of Trump, that he was a supporter of Trump, and that he said, you know, something doesn't smell right about this 2020 election.
Yeah.
You know, so it's one of those things, but it's good they rallied behind him. Trump supports him. It looks like he's got the majority of the Republicans behind him. I hope he does good, okay? And I think having a speaker is going to be better than anything else. But we've also got this $104 billion package, which, of course, as we talked about last week, gives $60 billion, I think is still what it is, to Ukraine. What was it, $10 billion to Israel, and then the rest was whatever kind of green bull sticks fluff they've got in there.
$14 billion for our border crisis.
$14 billion for the border crisis, okay, which should have been addressed long ago. Of course, we talked about that.
Yeah.
They're building the wall now. It's a good thing they got the speaker, but I wouldn't say I'm holding my breath. I want to see how he does. They're going to have to do another continuing resolution in the next couple of weeks. Is he just going to fold and go for it? I'm not saying he won't. I'm not saying he will. I'm not saying he's going to be a bad speaker. I just, you know, at this point in time, with everything we've seen in politics going on,
I have zero confidence in any of them. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's going to cave, and he's going to, you know, play the game.
Let's see where they go there, because these lobbyists got their fingers in there, too.
He's already said that he supports more money to Ukraine, so he's already on my list.
Yeah, which is an issue for me as well. Like I said, we've talked about this ad nauseum. To me, Israel is one thing. Israel is really, and I've made this point, and I'll make it to anybody. If anybody ever wants to come on and argue with me about this, no, I don't believe Netanyahu set up the Hamas attacks. Okay, Israel has been like our little brother in a sea of retardedness, which is the Middle East. Economically, they benefit everybody in this country. Security-wise, they benefit. They were the most technologically advanced security force. I say probably one of the top 4 or 5 on the planet. They give so much to us. We need to take care of them. Ukraine, I just don't get this. Ukraine is folding every day.
I don't understand why they don't just send in the Zohan and end this thing.
You don't mess with the Zohan,
right?
Do you?
Like he could knock this out in a couple hours.
Did you know Adam Sandler is actually a conservative?
Is he?
Yeah, no, he absolutely is. Well, last I checked, he was. Arnold Schwarzenegger was a conservative too, and he was talking about running for president. Did you see that? He can't, but he said he'd make a great president. You know, which was the same guy that, if you'll remember, when the COVID thing was going on with the mask, he said, screw your freedoms about not wanting to wear a mask.
I'd still take Arnold right now over our current situation.
I would too, but speaking about things over our current situation, if you'll remember, Dees, you and I were talking about Bobby Kennedy Jr. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And you were saying he may be a spoiler for Donald Trump, and I argued with you. I said, yeah, I don't think so. I think at even worst case
I didn't
scenario.
say it. I was reading the polls.
Well, you're reading the. Okay, you're right. You're reading the polls. So check this out. Bobby Kennedy Jr. has come out an advocate for race reparations. Kennedy, who, of course, he stepped away from the Democratic primary challenge to old Sleepy Joe a couple weeks ago. He has spoken in favor of issuing federal dollars to rebuild black infrastructure like banks and businesses, and as well as direct redress payments or tax credits rather than no-string cash giveaways. Communities that were specifically targeted for destruction need to be specifically targeted for repair. During Jim Crow, I'm quoting, black banks, businesses, hospitals, schools, and farms were targeted for destruction. Racists knew that without these, the black community had no chance of building wealth. We must set federal dollars aside to rebuild black infrastructure. That is not going to pull conservatives. What's going to pull conservatives is not giving tax dollars to sticks that went on 50 or 60 years ago. What's going to pull conservatives is propping up the black community. Now, here's another one that didn't really age well. Did you know he endorsed Hillary Clinton a handful of times and praised her?
Well, he was a Democrat, yeah.
He was a Democrat. And that's my point I'm making. Bobby Kennedy can come out and say some stuff like the anti-vax thing. The vaccines are bull sticks, which we agree with. He comes out and gives some half-assed, actually, I don't want to get rid of the Second Amendment. Okay, hey, that's great. Coming from a Democrat, that sounds good. But remember, folks, at the end of the day, Bobby Kennedy Jr. is still a bleeding heart liberal. Now, he's not the bleeding heart liberal we're seeing now in people like AOC and Rashida Tlaib.
Yeah.
Which they're not bleeding heart liberals. They're evil.
The bottom line is there are people who lean right but absolutely don't want Trump that will vote for Kennedy over the other two.
I don't think there's as many as people think there are. I really don't. When you look at the polls, I just don't see this. When you're Trump and Biden, when you're talking about the general election, the latest Messenger Harris X poll was Trump 45, Biden 41.
Right.
I don't see
Say that again.
Trump 45, Biden 41.
Who's not in that poll?
Okay, I agree, but here's
what
another.
I'm saying? Like, I'm just telling you, and I don't think it's going to be a substantial amount, but there are going to be people on both sides that, whether they lean right and they just don't want Trump, or they lean left and they don't want Biden or Trump, they're going to vote for Bobby.
But
he's going to take votes from both sides,
okay,
probably more from the left.
Here's the latest one I can find with them. General election: Trump versus Biden versus Kennedy versus West. All right, it has Trump at 37, Biden 37, Kennedy at 13, and West at 4. Now, I want you to think back, and everybody listening to this right now, do you remember what happened in 2016 when Donald Trump's poll numbers were so low, people were betting that Hillary had a 98% chance or whatever it was to win the presidency? You remember this?
Mm-hmm.
And the phenomenon behind this was people did not want to say they were going to vote for Trump. That's nearly been a proven fact. I think at best, or at worst case scenario, that's what you're seeing with Kennedy. Even with these polls, which we're so far out right now, it doesn't make a stick's difference. I don't think Bobby Kennedy is going to pull those kind of people. I just don't. Not pull them away from Trump. I don't. I just don't know anybody that said I would vote for Trump over Biden and go, you know what, but if Kennedy was coming in, I'd vote for him instead. It's not there. I just don't believe that's there.
I mean, we can talk about this till we're blue in the face, but the bottom line is there's a very high probability that there's not going to be a damn election anyway.
You know what? I agree with that 100%. Between
whether by hook or crook or World War, I think we're going to be a little busy come next November.
No, I agree with that 100%. I mean, I think that this can benefit a lot of people. We talk about how it benefits Russia, Iran, China, North Korea to have a spread out on these fronts. But let's not forget something here. It also benefits Joe Biden, because historically a president during wartime gets elected. Okay? But also being in, if it ever gets to that point, God forbid it does, I hope it doesn't, Dees. But if it ever gets to that point to where it's as bad as we think it could be, the president of the United States has a lot of powers he can take. And let's face it, even if we weren't at war, he would still probably use those powers anyway, one way or another. So you have a good point there. Now, talking about what's going on in Lewiston, Maine, we're going to get in depth about this. Let's see how much time we've got here.
We don't.
We don't? We don't. Well, we just can't do nothing.
Odd timing of this, though, I will say.
What, the Lewiston thing?
The mass
and we'll
shooting.
talk about that in the next segment a little bit more in depth. Go ahead.
Well, there were a couple of stories that broke in the last week concerning good old Sleepy Joe. One being a check that was found that basically proved that he received money as a direct result of everything going on.
And 40 confidential informants.
And then the other story about all these informants that they brushed under as foreign disinformation. Oh, looky here at the mass shooter in Maine.
Yeah,
Wooga.
Cue the aliens and Bigfoot coming up here on the Aldonzo and D Show on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. The mass shooter in Lewiston, Maine, that we were talking about earlier in the show,
who, as of the minute, which is 7:31 Thursday evening, there is still no further developments.
So this guy, people are coming out and calling for gun control now because he went out with an AR-15. Now this guy was supposedly a firearms instructor.
Supposedly, I thought that was pretty much confirmed that he was.
Okay, it was, but there was some stuff that he was also in the military, been in the military, in the Guard since I think 2002. And there was
never been deployed on combat.
Never been deployed on combat duty. Okay. Now there was speculation that he was a firearms instructor for West Point. Now I'm not sure how, and they said that that's not the case. So I'm not really sure about him being an actual firearms instructor. But this guy obviously knew how to shoot.
He was a highly skilled marksman. That has been confirmed.
That's been confirmed 100%. It's just like when it came out, it was 22 people killed, then it was 16 people killed, then it was 18 people killed, 50 to 60 injured. These things changed. You're learning more about him.
Yeah, when I first started reading about it this morning, because I didn't even see it happen last night. I was too busy picking on little kids on NBA 2K24 last night. But anyway.
Well, you're a big guy. Yeah.
I'm a stud. What am I talking about? I didn't see that story till this morning. As of this morning, it come out like 22 were dead and up to 50 injured or whatever. And of course, that's now been whittled down to 18 dead, 13 injured.
And it could further change. I mean, the injured could die. I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
it's a horrible thing.
I know there are at least a few that are still on extremely life-threatening injuries right now.
You know, but this goes back real quick. And what we were talking about in the first segment. Look, when you go somewhere, check your surroundings, watch people, situational awareness. I don't know the circumstances with this one, how well that could, but always keep your eyes peeled for something weird.
He walked in and started firing.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. He walked into the first place, I think he started firing, and they killed people in the parking lot of the second place, a bowling alley, I think it was. So anyway, this guy had, from my knowledge, threatened other people in the Guard unit, and they sent him to a psychiatric ward for 2 weeks. He said he was hearing voices. I guess his family members said he bought hearing aids so he could hear people talking about him and all this other cockamamie bull sticks.
Yeah, he openly discussed shooting up the Guard armory base, whatever you want to call it.
That's what it was.
Yeah, sent him away for 2 whole weeks.
So when somebody's talking about hearing voices, now look, I'm not a proponent of just taking somebody's Second Amendment rights away. Okay, but when you're talking about hearing voices and you have, you know, this kind of, it's a psychiatric illness. You need to take this person, you need to admit them, you need to make sure they don't have any access to firearms. And that's a slippery slope, that is. Okay, but in this case, these red flag laws were there. There were red flags. So they say we need red flag laws. Well, you know what? Don't put any more gun control legislation in place until you follow the laws you've got in, until you follow the regulations you already have in. Go ahead.
For those of you listening on the radio, I'm raising my hand. I have a question.
Yeah, shoot.
More of a statement. Craig Robertson. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah. The older
Craig Robertson made a Facebook post about killing Joe Biden. Not even really. The exact post was, "I hear Biden is coming to Utah, digging out my old ghillie suit and cleaning the dust off the M24 sniper rifle. Welcome, buffoon in chief." And the FBI raided his home pre-dawn and shot and killed him.
Yes. Yep,
Yes.
you're correct. It murdered him.
Yes.
Yeah.
This man was an active guardsman known to be a marksman with statements made about shooting up a military base. And he was sent to a mental institution
For 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks and then let go.
He wasn't killed. And here's a scary thing about it, folks.
He wasn't killed. He wasn't arrested. He wasn't.
Nope.
Like 2 weeks after claiming that you're going to kill everybody on the base.
Completely, pretty much. Well, I wouldn't say completely.
Meanwhile, a
but pretty much off the hook.
74-year-old man, more or less, makes a joke about, sniping the president in Utah, and he gets 50 ATF and FBI agents at his home at 6 o'clock in the morning, and they shoot him dead.
Yeah. Oh,
pretty much all you need to know about the state of this country.
Yeah. This is ass backwards what's going on right now. Absolutely, completely, utterly insane. Now, I don't think that they let this happen to cover for what's going on with Joe Biden.
I don't either, but it's just one of those things.
But it's one of those things. Nowadays, how can you really go like, "Oh, there's no way that would happen"? We're not saying that did happen. We don't think that happened.
The
but
Biden stuff. The Biden stuff was all over Fox News as far as the check that they found written from his brother for $200,000.
Okay, go ahead.
And then now the Grassley 40 FBI informants, and then this thing happens, and now that's all anybody's really talking about.
So you've got 40. So this is my thing, and we'll get into the check. You got that story pulled up?
I can find it.
Yeah, find that. So there was 40 confidential informants, okay, in the past, what would have been 2016, 7 or 8 years, that have come forward to the FBI and said, we have this dirt, this incriminating evidence that they are defrauding people, they're taking bribes, they're doing X, Y, and Z. Okay, they're selling foreign policy, they're doing all this stuff. And they went to the FBI, which the FBI is toast in my mind. Well, they're not toast, but they should be. They're done. I'm done with the FBI. I don't want to hear anything about when the FBI comes out and says something, or they've got 51 former intelligence officials that say that this is Russian disinformation. I'm done with it. I don't believe a damn word that comes out of the FBI. I don't believe a damn word that comes out of the ATF or the CIA at this point. I don't. The CIA whacked Kennedy. I don't believe any of this. Okay? But what they did was when these confidential informants reported this, they shut down the investigation under the guise of this is just Russian disinformation. Do you notice? Why do you think we're pumping so much into Ukraine right now? Why do you think we're so anti-Russian right now? Think about that. Because we have used Russia as a scapegoat to get rid of the boogeyman that is a conservative, that is Donald Trump. We have used Russia to say, well, no, we can't believe this. This is Russian disinformation. Oh, this all came from Russia. Russia. Well, anybody that would do that to another country, another nuclear superpower, of course, does not want to see them, the Putin regime, in power anymore. Think about this. What do you got on this payment, this check, supposedly?
Well, they found basically a $200,000 check written from James Biden to Joe Biden back in 2018. And, of course, Joe claims that it was a loan repayment. In fact, the note on the check even said loan repayment. However, they have since traced money coming from shell corporations, blah, 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 to the Bidens. And then basically around the same time that this check was kicked over to Joe. And now James Comer, is basically demanding to show proof that this was an actual loan, like some kind of contract, loan agreement, payment plan, whatever. But the timing of this money coming from unknown sources to now all of a sudden he's writing this check to old brother Joe is odd at the very least.
At the very least, do you think that would warrant an investigation at this point with everything that's coming out?
Do I get to include all the other evidence?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, it doesn't warrant an investigation. It warrants a friggin' arrest.
There you go. Thank you.
I mean, this is, again, ad nauseum. We've talked about this. If you just had one or two pieces of evidence, yeah, maybe we should look into it. But if you take all of it, throw it all in on one plate, and it belongs on the same plate because it's the same damn meal. Yeah, he shouldn't be in office anymore. He's crooked as all hell, and they've got more than enough proof. But and this is Republicans too, but they just keep dragging their feet. Like, this should have been done months and months ago, but it's just not going to happen. I'm convinced.
So
not until he's out of office, if he's ever out of office before he dies, which I don't think he will be.
No, I agree with you 100%. At everything he does,
this is all lip service.
I agree with that 100%. Now, here's the other thing, too. It ties into this about him covering his ass. Don't you think it's weird that Joe Biden, this big liberal guy, and he's for all these far-left lunatic causes, is supporting Israel so much? Don't you think that's odd? He's sending all these strike groups over there and everything. This, and I've tied this back before, benefits China. It's spreading us out more. This is just another front what's going on with the FBI and Joe Biden. We've got the southern border. We've got terrorist cells, I believe, in our country. We've got the war in Israel. We've got the war in Ukraine. We've got Taiwan and China. We've got Kosovo and Serbia. Okay, we've got Iran rearing up. We've got North Korea. We've got Pakistan. And now we have a rogue federal government that's running our country like a banana republic. I mean, how much worse could this... I know it could get worse.
Hey, don't say that.
I know. Well, it's going to get worse, and you and I both know it.
You're about to find out how much worse it can get.
It's going to get a lot worse. This is just, folks, this is just the tip of the iceberg. What do you think, Deez?
Without question. Yeah.
I think we're going to see some serious sticks hitting the fan here pretty soon. Everything is just going to hell in a handbag all over the world and in our country. And we're so weak. We're so just destitute right now.
When did it change from handbag or from handbasket to handbag?
I don't know. It's always been interchangeable, hasn't it?
Not
hell in a
to me.
handbasket, hell in a handbag. I don't know. I don't get it. What does it matter? I mean, we're talking about the collapse of civilization, Deez, and you're worried about handbag or handbasket.
I mean, come on, let's all get on the same page.
Throwing us in we're all just
hell in a
thrown
handbasket
into a
just
basket
sounds
of
better.
deplorables or a handbag.
Hell in a
of
handbasket. It just
deplorables.
rolls off the tongue better.
All right, so I got this one. I got to get out there real quick. Just talking about how stupid this is. So Joe Biden on the 23rd, I think it was Monday, had made a speech, of course, on Bidenomics, which is failing. Okay, ask anybody that has to really, yeah, right. Ask anybody that has to pay bills nowadays or fuel up their gas tank or anything, and that's another thing. With Iran, we got don't you think that this whole thing in the Middle East is going to increase the price of oil and all this stuff with Iran? Anyway, we'll get into that later.
Well, I'm sure it's going to skyrocket.
Go ahead.
To jump back all the way to segment one, we were talking about prepping. You said people should get 3 weeks of food. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. First, before you do that, make sure you go and secure your loan, because that's what you're going to need to buy 3 weeks worth of food.
Absolutely, it's astounding. Yeah, it's absolutely stupid at this point.
I spent $300 today, and that might get me through the middle of next week.
Yeah, and I agree with you, but you know what you can get? You can get rice and you can get beans. You buy bags of rice, bags of beans, put them in a 5-gallon bucket, snap the lid down, It ain't great. It isn't great, but it'll keep you going. But anyway, Joe Biden said something I've never heard another president say before. So he was
what, the truth?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I heard Trump say it plenty of times.
You think you did?
Yeah, no, I did. Trust me, when Trump opens his mouth, half the time it's bloody truth, okay? Anyway, so he was talking at his White House set thing in the South Court Auditorium. And I'm not going to rehash the whole thing, but he said this. I've never heard a president say this before, but this was the truth. You're right. Because somebody got into his ear and told him. And I'm going to pull this up. Let's roll clip.
I apologize. I have to go to the Situation Room with another issue. I have to do. Thank you.
I apologize. I have to go to the Situation Room for another issue I have to deal with. Have you ever heard a president? Sorry, I got to go to the Situation Room. Nobody ever. What the hell's going on?
I think there was a situation in his Depends.
Yeah, it depends on what day of the week it is, what he wears. Probably had to go get his insurer or something. Talking about all this other bull sticks. Artificial intelligence, we've covered this ad nauseum as well. We're both scared to death of this, aren't we? Well, I mean, look, here's the thing. If Vladimir Putin or Xi Jinping or Little Rocket Man or Joe Biden or Israel or Iran or Hamas, if they don't start a nuclear war, it'll be artificial intelligence that starts a nuclear war. So check this out. The Italian government decided that they needed to put an AI czar in place. So they appointed a former prime minister to head up the country's AI initiatives.
It's not better than our AI czar.
It's better or not better?
Not better. We have the best AI czar ever.
Who's our AI czar?
Well, it's Kamala Harris.
I thought she was a border czar.
She's that too.
Well, if she does as good on AI as she did on the border, we're screwed. So anyway, they brought this person in to head up the AI initiatives, and of course it pissed a lot of people off because this person is 85 years old. 85 years old.
I mean,
former Italian Prime Minister and ex-Constitutional Court Chief Giuliano Amato. That's him right there. What the hell does he know about artificial intelligence? He's on artificial life support right now.
I'm sure he knows a thing or two about making people disappear in the river.
Well, I guess Giorgia Meloni, the prime minister, didn't know about it, and she said she was quite irritated by the development. So they just nominated this guy and didn't even tell the Italian prime minister about it.
Did they tell him about it?
I don't know. Maybe they sat him down just like they did with Joe Biden and fed him some applesauce. And you're the AI czar now. Yes, you are. Yes. Now probably just opened up a can of raviolis, dumped them down his pants, and said, "Shut off the computers." I don't know what the hell's going on anymore. How about this one, real quick? Did you hear about this? That Donald Trump wanted to prank call Chris Cuomo from the White House while he had Andrew Cuomo in there and was meeting with him?
No.
Okay. This upcoming book claims New York Governor Andrew Cuomo and Trump were having dinner at the White House or lunch during the COVID pandemic because Cuomo and Trump went back for years. And I guess that Trump had this great idea, and he goes, "What's Chris's number?" And Cuomo's like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Your brother. What's his number?" It'd be hilarious if we prank called him right now. And, anyway, Andrew Cuomo pushed it off. He's like, "No, he's busy. And Trump's like, "No, yeah, let's just go ahead and call him. Let's prank call him." Anyway, it got brushed under the rug. But I thought that was funny. Calling up Fredo, in the middle of a show. I don't know. That's just, Donald Trump for you. That's honesty right there. What did you just say? Shoot what?
My leg.
Your leg what? Hey, we got a show to run here.
We have a situation here. I gotta go. Holy!
What's going on? Oh, medical emergency, folks.
Cramp, bad.
What happened?
My friggin' hamstring just like Charlie horse.
I could be a nice guy and cut this out and redo it, but I'm not going to because this is too funny right now. Hey, your hamstring.
Yes. You ever just like cramp up for no reason at all?
The ham bone's connected to the leg bone.
You're
Leg
not quite
bone's
my
connected
age
to
yet.
the-
You'll get it one of these days.
I get cramps all the time.
I'm serious. I'm just sitting here, and all of a sudden,
You know what? The only difference
Bam!
between you and me is I power through it for the show.
Then you ain't ever had one that bad.
Well, obviously I haven't. Have you drank plenty of water today?
Yeah, that's all I drink pretty much, except on the weekends. But
That's all you drink except
basically
on
had,
the weekends.
had a vodka IV Saturday night, but yeah,
Did
that
you
came
hear-
out of nowhere, man.
Did you hear about this pilot that tried to take down the Alaska Airlines jet?
Yeah.
What in the sticks is going on with this?
Well, he ate mushrooms. That's what's going on.
I don't. That's no excuse for anything. Joseph David
You
Emerson.
obviously haven't had good enough mushrooms.
I
then, because
obviously haven't. And I don't
At first,
wanna.
I'm like, this dude's crazy, and then I read the part where he ate mushrooms. I'm like, I kind of get it now.
So 4 days ago, there was an Alaska Airlines flight 2059 operated by Horizon Air out of Washington to San Francisco, California. They reported a credible security threat related to an authorized occupant in the flight deck jump seat. Okay, so other airline pilots can fly up front in the cockpit. This goofy SOB attempted to shut down the fuel to the engines and crashed the plane. Joseph David Emerson, all right?
I laugh only because everybody's okay.
It's great. What does that make you want to get on a plane nowadays?
Oh, well, no, it doesn't.
He was charged with 83 counts of attempted murder, 83 counts of reckless endangerment, and 1 count of endangering an aircraft. Who gives a sticks about the aircraft? God, that freaks me out, man.
I bet it's the last time he eats mushrooms.
Well, it better be the last time he eats mushrooms. This should just, I'm just saying right now, be a lesson to everybody that wants to eat mushrooms. Don't do it, because you're going to end up crashing a plane.
Yeah.
We have so much.
He had a nervous breakdown after not sleeping for 40 hours and taking psychedelic mushrooms for the first time.
You know, let me tell you something. I've had a nervous breakdown. I never thought about crashing a plane full of people in it. No,
Yeah,
this guy's got issues.
Have you
dude.
ever had a nervous breakdown while sitting on a plane full of people?
No, because
Well,
you know
then
what I
there you
do
go.
when I start to get nerves on a plane, because Eldonzo does not like flying? I drink. I drink copious amounts of alcohol, and I pass myself out.
Well, this guy chose mushrooms.
Well, in another sense of absurdity and just psychoness, 11-year-old transgender biological boy becomes youngest Grand Marshal of Orlando Pride Parade. An 11-year-old transgender biological boy who identifies as a girl has become the youngest Grand Marshal of... Why are we making these... What in the hell is going... Dempsey Jara, 11, claims that her son began to identify as a girl at just 18 months old, the mother of Dempsey Jara. She's 11 years old, and we're celebrating this and making her a Grand Marshal? Bring on the nukes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but if we're encouraging our boys to be girls and want to cut off the woos or whatever the hell they call them, the penises...
Is this a boy that thinks he's a girl?
It's
or
a
girl?
boy that thinks he's a girl
Oh, okay.
because his parents are liberal scumbags and his school's full of liberal scumbags. Orlando. Ugh. What a bastion of idiocy in a great state.
That's where Dwight Howard played.
You know what? This is the Eldonzo and D Show. We'll be right back unless hopefully nuclear war just restarts society. Right here on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington effing normal. Welcome back to the Eldonzo and D Show here on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington normal. We're a little calmed down now. This is Eldonzo.
I'm Deez.
And hey, we were talking about that guy real quick. I want to get this story in. We were talking about the guy that took mushrooms and decided it'd be a good idea to crash the jumbo jetliner or whatever it was, Alaskan Airlines, in the last segment. Here's one for you. This is a headline. Biker learns lesson after 140 mile per hour crash between trucks. Have you ever been going down the interstate and you see these dipsticks on the crotch rockets go between semis?
Oh, I saw this. Amari King, or whatever, tweeted this.
This has got to be the luckiest dumb son of a sticks I've ever seen in my life.
Wait, luckiest?
Well, yeah, he's alive. 140. So have you ever seen these people? And
No way.
Wait, let me finish. I got a question. Have you ever seen these people weave between semis like that at 100 miles an hour? And you
Yeah.
think, I just wish they'd wreck.
This can't be the same video I watched.
Well, to tell you what, I'm going to play it for you real quick. You don't have any audio.
Yeah.
But this guy is going 140 miles an hour, and he's got a camera attached to the back of his bike.
He lived?
He broke 20 bones in his body and a collapsed lung. We got to try and get this up on Facebook. Yes,
bro,
he
I
passed
saw
out.
that.
No, and then the semi that he passed around and almost hit came up and clipped him and took the camera and the bike under his truck. He survived. Okay, he tweeted from his hospital bed, "I will never drive like that again." Why did you?
I saw the video on X. Amiri King posted it, and I didn't even look into it for the simple fact that I saw the video and I thought, there's no shot that guy's alive.
He lived. Talk about a new lease on life. But it was one of those things where I see those people do that when I'm going down the interstate. I'm like, I just hope you get run over by a truck because you're stupid. And people are like, oh, you give bikers bad names. Yeah, you do.
You get watch out for bikers and everything, and I agree with that.
Yeah,
a lot
I
of
do
people
too.
don't.
But you know what?
When you have idiots like that, play stupid games,
win stupid prizes. You need to watch out. You need to be responsible on a bike. I've seen too many idiots out on bikes, and there's plenty of idiots out in vehicles, four-wheeled vehicles as well. Don't get me wrong. But I see too many people doing this. I saw a guy literally going down the interstate, sitting on his motorcycle with his legs off to one side, and you can't, of course, for those on the radio, he's got one hand on the throttle and the handlebars, and he's sitting there like he's sitting in a chair with his legs on one side. It's like, you're an idiot.
Yeah,
that's
stupid. Nuts, man.
Let me see how much time we got here. There's one more story I want to get to, and then I'm going to throw it over to Deez, and I'm going to rattle through this. Okay, you remember Zachary Ty Bryan from Home Improvement?
Vaguely.
Okay, so he was recently arrested for, I think it was domestic abuse. Yeah, he's going to get like 6 weeks in jail or something. Look at this guy. I never liked this kid. I always thought he looked like a dipstick, and he is a dipstick.
Yeah.
Representatives of Bryan did not immediately respond to Fox News' request for comment, but the terms of the negotiated resolution included dismissal of the second count and a stipulation to a 7D grid block on the Oregon felony sentencing guidelines, which calls for a presumptive 19 to 20 months in the Oregon Department of Corrections. But he got it down to 7 days in jail.
Wow.
And 36 months. But he's just a douche canoe. Look at this guy.
Yeah.
Like I said, never liked him when he was a kid on the show. I don't like him now. My parents used to hate watching that because of him. But anyway, all right, Deez, over to you.
A 64-year-old woman in Taiwan was experiencing some weird scratching and clicking sounds and was kind of freaking out.
I don't even want to hear this.
So she went to the doctor.
I don't even want to hear this.
And they found
a spooter.
A spider was alive in her ear and had molted, i.e. shedding of the skin. The spider only measured about 2 to 3 millimeters, so it was very tiny. But I got to imagine it probably sounded like you with the drum kit inside somebody's inner ear canal.
I was hoping you wouldn't pick up on that story because that makes my skin crawl.
I knew. I was trying to think.
Thanks.
Like, I know he's deathly afraid of. It's either snakes or spiders.
No, I'm not deathly afraid of spiders. I don't like them. I love snakes. I'll pick up. If you see a snake out front, I'll pick it up. I don't even care about that. But
yeah.
Go ahead.
So, yeah. Hopefully, you don't have a spider in your ear next time you hear something.
Would you just shut up, Deez? Would you just stop
remember
talking
the old
about
joke, about the me Chinese, me play joke, me go pee pee in your Coke?
Yeah.
Well, a man at the Tsingtao Brewery in Taiwan, I believe, Chinese brewery, was videotaped urinating in a giant vat of beer.
Hi, I urinate in your lager.
So, yeah, if you're a big fan of the old Tsingtao brew, you might want to check the born-on date for that. Make sure it doesn't coincide with
Taste tangy.
Captain PP there.
Oh, Captain PP.
I wonder what that does to the bitterness. Beer has those IBUs, the international
Well, I'm not trying
units.
to absolve the guy, but it was probably so diluted, nobody could probably taste it.
Look, some of the beers that I've drank, a little urine probably would make it taste a little bit better.
Yeah, I've had some bad ones too.
Philadelphia. is where this next story happened. Looking at the.
Oh, when you said
okay.
Philadelphia, I thought it was going to happen in Boston.
Philadelphia men face federal charges for allegedly stealing 2 million dimes from a truckload of coins. And they say that the 4 thieves stole $234,500 worth of dimes that were in the truck. And, of course, this was all caught on video, so they caught them. Can you imagine trying to carry away 2 million dimes?
No.
There's got to be some weight to that, I would imagine.
I mean, if you're going to be a bear or be a grizzly, but damn, man.
25-year-old Raheem Savage, 31-year-old Ronald Byrd, 30-year-old Hanif Palmer, and 32-year-old Malik Palmer face conspiracy, robbery, theft of money, and other charges.
They sound like a couple of nice young white gentlemen.
Did they pay their bond with the dimes? That's what I want to know. Like,
that would be great if they did, wouldn't it?
I mean, how else are you going to do it?
Yeah, just take.
And I can report that the main shooter has either been arrested, shot and killed, or killed himself. One of those 3 things is going to happen.
Well, let's hope that he's dead. Either way, but This is the El Donzo and D show, and we are out of here, baby. We'll catch you on the flip side. This is El Donzo out.
See ya.